Hey guys, welcome back to Pillbox Movies. I'm Hank, and today we're going to be watching the 1962 American comedy 40 Pounds of Trouble. For some reason, when my mind turns to covering American comedies on this channel, my mind turns to Tony Curtis. 40 Pounds of Trouble is the directorial debut of director Norman Jewison and stars Tony Curtis, Suzanne Pichette, and Larry Storch. The movie is about a casino boss, a casino manager, and a club singer finding they have a little girl on their hands, apparently. It's one of the first films shot on location at Disneyland. I think it's the first film that ever got permission to actually shoot in the amusement park proper. Yeah, so take that, Escape from Tomorrow. I like Norm Jewison, okay. He's done a couple of movies. Some I have seen, some I haven't, but some notable ones on his filmography are In the Heat of the Night, Thomas Crown Affair, Fiddler on the Roof, Moonstruck. People love Moonstruck. I should see Moonstruck, but instead I'm watching 40 Pounds of Trouble. So yeah, let's do it. Old school, well, middle old school Universal logo. This era of Technicolor, this kind of like, I don't know, I think of like early Disney live action movies, this specific Technicolor tone. It sure takes me back to like VHS days. He's been colored by Pathé, huh?
Wait a minute, McCluskey!
Crossing the border, you can't do anything now.
Hey, you're getting better, Bassett. That was a terrific chase.
Thanks a lot, McCluskey. Cluskey, will you do me a favor? Pay your ex-wife the dough.
Well, you did it again, Mr. McCluskey. 2 lanes. I had $20 on you. Well, that's not smart.
Something I do appreciate about Tony Curtis films, for whatever reason, it seems like there's a good mix of like sound stages, but also filming on location. Maybe it's just the times, but it really is impressive in its own right to show off films, scenes filmed on location. Like, look at that. That's a whole different feel. Jesus Christ. Look how populated that is. This is the shit that Amy Sherman Palladino loves. This is the kind of filled-in screen that occupies her mind in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
I'm glad to see you. How are you? West Wing. I put a call in. He'll be right over.
Hi, Mr. McCluskey.
Chewing gum?
God, look at that. It's so expansive. I mean, I hate casinos. But from the safety, the distance of film, it's beautiful to look at.
About these accommodations. Later. Wait, later. But there's a light out over there on the dollar slot.
This actually reminds me of we get to do a casino playlist. This reminds me of a similar shot done in Hard 8, the Paul Thomas Anderson film, or Sydney, if you please. But he's playing a similar role to Robert De Niro's role in Casino, the kind of floor manager, the
That doesn't sound enough. Somebody
the mind for managing the floor.
I'll speak to the pit bosses.
Come in.
I don't know if this is necessarily the.
Yes.
Oh, she looks like Alison Brie. That's crazy. I don't know if this is like a deliberate choice or this is the direction the choice was made in. But to have him have,
I think we didn't have a manager.
it's actually interesting because he plays such a daredevil in the first scene, and he's played out as rather meticulous in the following scenes.
Are you sure
But
it's
as a
going?
costume choice, what I'm
it's going.
kind of gleaning is that he has a tie that's kind of the same tone and color as his shirt because he doesn't actually like being flamboyant. He doesn't like showing off. And then so that's like a costume
exactly
choice for
what Uncle
me.
Bernie said. If there's anything you need, just ask good old Mr. McCluskey. He thinks very highly of you.
We want all our entertainers to be happy while they're here.
While they're here.
Mr. McCluskey.
You make all the demands you want to him. As if he weren't even here.
It's not exactly virtuosic, but I really love Tony Curtis's particular deadpan delivery. He plays it up or down depending on if he's in comedy or if he's like in Sweet Smell of Success, for example. But this particular line delivery, I don't know, it just has such a alluring cadence to me, and it fits so well with Burt Lancaster in Sweet Smell of Success.
Every time you cross that state line, you're looking to make the net. They clang that door shut on you in San Quentin, and you'll know what closet fever really is.
So he's gonna have to go save the kid crossing the state line at the end of this, I'm guessing.
Huh?
I'm at a crossroads because at once it's like shiny and glossy and like kind of meaningless, but also it's like, you know, really fun and energetic, and like you really get to feel the lifestyle of this.
1,000, gentlemen. All.
It's actually very surprising to me personally to see such effective editing techniques around shooting a casino so early on in like the 60s as opposed to like the 80s or 90s.
I pass.
9 over.
200. I raise you 200. 8.
But this has a very kind of concrete editing style to convey the emotions, the swings of living in a casino, playing in a casino.
Because I must regulate several hundred machines that cost more than $30,000 a day to run. Now,
Yeah,
those machines are
this is the meticulous side of his personality.
exhaust fan in the kitchen, a vocalist in a supper show.
Supper show. Oh shit.
Mr. Piper's stuff includes a girl.
Well then, Herman, explain the situation to her quietly. Right, where is she?
Nope, it's the girl behind her.
That's her.
You saw her. I see her. There she is.
Over here, Jack.
Aww. She's got those baby greens to match Tony Curtis's baby blues. It's a very Irish-looking girl.
Can I go in there where all the gum machines are?
You do, and you'll get arrested.
I don't need gum anyway. That's only for people who can't brush after every meal.
The reds just pop in Technicolor. Wow.
And if you love, you gotta live, 'cause you just can't live.
Without love.
Live without love.
I'd like to thank you.
What for?
Well, it's common knowledge backstage that you papered the house.
But you were very good.
Thank you.
Fassbender's looking directly at the
Yeah.
spank and he's like,
Sorry I was such a pain in the neck before.
I could use this for Lola.
I think I'm gonna like it here.
You know why?
I really like the pink. Maybe it's just because I just watched Lola, but it's good. It's a nice use of neons. This is a good look.
Chilly? Gets chilly up here, you know.
A little bit of a touch to
I
it.
live right around the
And also just, like, two Jewish people flirting. It's nice. I wonder if the actress
You've been perfect there.
for Carrie Lockwood is also Jewish. Or Chris Lockwood. Suzanne Pichette. Well, she's from Brooklyn Heights. She is Jewish. And she played Yubaba and Zaniva in Spirited Away. That's fun.
Hi.
Hello.
Because she's going to be deep as a rock anyway.
Deep as a rock?
And after that, she's going to be dead. But she's very brave.
I hope you're big enough to take your own bath.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, the
Just
bathroom's
help her
down.
out. She's a little kid. Look at her. She's got bangs. She can't take care of herself. Don't with the eyes. Come on now.
Gypsy, you forgot your feathers.
No, my pajamas.
Pajamas. What do you call this?
A bathroom?
Nah, it's not a bathroom. It used to be a bathroom.
It's a
but not
sty.
bathroom anymore.
It's a jungle.
You know what it is?
No.
It's a major disaster area. And what is all this?
I used some of your bubble bath stuff.
I don't have any bubble bath stuff.
I found it on the shelf. I guess it was your mother's.
Yeah, my mother's. Another thing well-organized people don't do. They don't wander around in their birthday suits looking for their pajamas.
Aww.
Right after God bless Daddy, I said God bless Mr. McCluskey.
Aww. Kid, I'm Jewish.
Sure.
I mean, he's playing an Irish character, but it's like Robert De Niro playing the character in Casino. It's an Irish actor playing a Jewish character. This is a Jewish actor playing an Irish character.
Sometimes people have...
We don't have a mother anymore. She died. That's where Disneyland is. And then to San Diego.
He's gonna take her to Disneyland.
Oh, you like
That's
the zoo?
cute.
No, I like Disneyland.
It's very interesting. I'm trying to think of who directed
I had to go back to San Francisco.
who directed
You mean you're here all alone?
The Perfect Furlough. That's right. Who directed The Perfect Furlough?
talking about? That's no good.
Oh, it was Blake Edwards. I forgot about that. Okay. Well, I have my issues with Blake Edwards, but I think he, as a director, he's competent, and he also has a very specific style of directing comedy that I don't perhaps gel with, but I understand. In my mind, though, from what I remember of The Perfect Furlough, it's kind of flatly shot in a way that's not very distinguishing, not very interesting, which is fine because it gives more space to kind of appreciate the on location, and it gives space for the performances and all of other stuff that goes with kind of shooting comedy. But with this, while it's not like a brilliant flourishes or anything, there are kind of directorial touches to it that seem a little bit more intentional or a little bit more deliberate. Who's the DP on this?
All of us go back.
Oh wow!
This is
The
nonsense.
the DP
kids
on
go to
this
the
also
sheriff.
shot Niagara and Pick Up on South Street and all that. That's crazy. Joseph McDonald. Huh. Okay.
Who's gonna tell
Maybe
that poor
we'll
little kid?
kind of put a pin on that. See if there's a little bit more kind of like visual flourishes to the movie.
Well, did I say I wouldn't?
We're gonna make a cake shaped like the Matterhorn. Do you know what the Matterhorn is?
It's a mountain
Yeah, the Matterhorn is...
in the Alps.
That's a mountain in Switzerland.
No, in Disney.
Oh, you got me. And a lot of use of these weird mirrors and reflective scenes. I guess that's to kind of showcase the specific architecture and geometry of Las Vegas, that there's always like an eye on everything. But it's more dynamically conceived of than The Perfect Furlough is, in my opinion.
Check the swing shift at 4 a.m. and you're up with Penny at 7. I should think you'd want to get away sometime.
She's coming on to you.
I would like to.
He's got away with women
Once in a while,
across
I'm tempted
multiple
to take an
films, I
afternoon off
suppose.
and
But they just
go
dote
up
on
to the
him.
mountains.
The dresses for our Barbie doll take up a lot of space, and our new tea set we got yesterday.
Don't move. Beautiful. I want to remember you always, just as you are at this moment.
It's very dry delivery. I really like it.
Mouth just like...
This thing doesn't work.
It's all right, dear. I'm talking to What doesn't work?
Look.
Oh.
This was Dave Brubeck.
Oh no. White people love Dave Brubeck.
No, you didn't do anything wrong. No, it was just some musician friends of mine noodling it up after a show.
Oh, well, that was a live performance. Oh. Yeah,
But it
that
doesn't make any
sucks.
difference. You know why?
Oh, yeah,
Because
that's bad.
Instead of a fabulous...
She made him something, didn't she? I'm like thinking about Niagara all the time now. It's filling up my mind. Thinking about Joseph McDonald. I'm like, look how smooth some of these camera movements are.
I'll be leaving in a few days.
You don't have to, you know. What are you going to do there?
What does any smart girl do? Look for a husband.
I guess you know Bernie better than I know Bernie.
I should think so.
You're supposed to ask me if I've gone to the bathroom and if I've said my prayers.
Why?
That's the way Steve does it. Prayers, bathroom, hit the pad.
Does he ever tell you a bedtime story?
He only knows one. It's about this wicked witch who was cruel to her husband, but her husband lived happily ever after.
Well, that doesn't sound very bedtimey to me.
but he acts out all the parts.
You go to sleep.
That's a bit of a forceful push. I'm just imagining this little girl as like Jamie Lee Curtis.
What would you like to do more than anything?
Go to Disneyland.
Disneyland!
I mean around here.
We can leave word where we're going.
It's funny that she's actually going on a similar kind of arc trajectory as he kind of espoused at the beginning of this film for himself, that like Las Vegas has kind of like its interests and its like flashy baubles and stuff, but it's ultimately hollow entertainment, and both of them kind of seek some sort of relief in getting out of Las Vegas. He kind of in his little romps into California, and her of course aspiring to go to Disneyland. In its own very subtle way, it's actually kind of critical of the Las Vegas lifestyle.
Even if you could go, you can't because you're not her parent, and I think there's some kind of law about that.
That's for grown-up girls.
Yeah, well, most grown-up girls have already been to Disneyland.
Are they talking about white slavery? Human trafficking?
That's not easy.
You show me a guy with a butt missing on his shirt, he's married. Show me a guy that looks like he hasn't had a decent meal in a year and a half, he's married.
I have no intention of marrying anybody at this time.
Chris, there's nothing personal about what I've been talking about.
And when I do, it'll be because the gentleman in question asked me.
What kind of a creep do you think I would be to try to steal Bernie's girl?
She's
Bernie's
his
girl?
niece.
Is that what I'm
It
supposed to
wasn't
Chris,
a
all I'm saying-
The
euphemism.
whole club? That's wonderful, because my own mother thinks I'm Bernie's niece, and she happens to be his sister.
Idiot.
And I got relatives. Now I can't worry about both.
Oh no. Oh God, that went a lot rougher than I expected it to.
Do it when you clock in.
His shirt is magnificent.
You know what?
What?
We're going to Disneyland.
That's nice. That's sweet.
Why?
Julius, you shall be in charge of Operation Smokescreen.
Check.
We must know the enemy and concentrate our efforts against his weakest point.
That's a good cut. That's a good cut. Ooh, the little buttons on her skirt.
Point 2 successfully cleared.
Check.
He'll make it.
Everybody in the casino talks.
You got a bet.
Everybody's got a bet on whether or not McCluskey will make it in and out of California. Wow. They did it. They're actually shooting in Disneyland. Well, that's fun. California Tourism Board is going wild right now. Just think, in 30 years' time, you'll have Full House shooting in here.
Please keep your hands and arms inside the boat.
This is
We're
fun.
about to be swallowed by Monstro. The very same whale that swallowed Pinocchio.
It's like weirdly surreal in its own way,
how we enter
but
storybook
this is fun.
land.
I wonder why they've chosen to film it in this way.
Straight ahead is the Swiss village where Geppetto lives. Remember Geppetto?
It doesn't feel like Disney has like an absolute like control over how they're depicted in this. There's like a little bit of tension in terms of them getting their agreement to shoot it in here and having to follow some protocols, and Jewison or Universal choosing to shoot it in a specific way that's still fun and still interactive, but just a little bit of disconnect. Or maybe it's just me not understanding the specific tone of this era. I'm like, yeah, I'm really trying to understand the tone of this era, because it feels to me very muted, and perhaps that's just the presentation of the 60s, but I also wonder if that's like a different presentation of how Disney wished to be perceived in the 60s, or if it's specifically this movie presenting Disneyland in a way that is like against the house style of how Disney would want itself to be portrayed. Because like there is like scenes of whimsy and wonder, and it's being shown as an entertaining place to go, but it's also like mixing in a lot of horror elements to the presentation of Disney, and showing a lot of Tony Curtis's like displeasure in being there. And maybe that's just displaying his character as being a curmudgeon and not enjoying these things, but it's like in its own particular ways portraying Disneyland is not like a fun experience for adults. Oh, that joke's not going to play in a couple years.
Well, I think we've covered about everything, girls. Why don't we go
Is
back
she?
to the main gate, huh?
Is that a Fidel Castro mask?
Indian attack!
Do they used to have exhibitions like this in Disney? Oh boy! Oh no! And this is like, not necessarily using Tony Curtis's like greatest strengths, but using things that he's probably proud of. Like, this is a very physical performance from Tony Curtis, and he actually gets to show off his kind of muscularity, his athleticism, more so than he would in other movies. I think there's like a little bit of an undertone in that in some of the movies that I've seen him in. Like, I think that presence is like just softly hinted at in Perfect Furlough, with him being like a military man. There's just like small swaths of him exhibiting his physicality in that role. If Ben Stiller has taught us anything, it's that, you know, Jewish men, Jewish actors are just like low-key, just in a soft way, very, very proud of their physical attributes or the work they do to maintain their physique. If you watch some of Ben Stiller's like greatest hits, his most popular movies, there is like a subtle thing in them that he wants to show off that he has a nice bod, whether in Zoolander or him playing a muscle-bound action hero in Tropic Thunder. Oh, they were setting themselves up for that bowling pin gag. That's a beautiful image, though. I really like that for this movie. Like, him being so meticulous, him being so grounded, having this one experience of exaltation, of, like, childhood irreverence.
I'm the sponsor. I'm paying for the whole show.
Think you'll find everything there except the warrant, and this gentleman has that. Stephen McCluskey?
No, Snow White.
Steve was married to a witch once, who sometimes turned into a hog, but mostly she was just a witch.
Anytime I wanted to, Steve, I could have got you just as easily on Nevada papers.
You mean all of this was for nothing?
Sure. Come on, baby.
Oh.
We've heard from everybody but Bobby Kennedy.
Well, you worry about him. I'll worry about Bernie Friedman.
They really quit it with the Kennedy jokes. This is all done in one shot, by the way. Showing off this actor's proficiency, his virtuosity, getting all these lines.
Do me a favor, shut up!
You are through. You know when I say through, I don't mean like, you know, you're through.
I mean you're through.
Nowhere in the whole state of Nevada do you want
Oh, I thought he's gonna kill him. Come on.
The whole industry,
Why do you have to do that?
To have some responsible family take care of her until the hearing.
I'll take care of her. I would love if this just had a tragic ending. He had to say goodbye to her and she just left, and then his reputation and his career is ruined. What a downer ending.
Suppose, Penny, suppose he doesn't come back.
Well, it wouldn't be his fault, and my mommy couldn't come back, and nobody's mad at her.
I'm depressed. Somebody please take care of this child.
And get her in. Keep the top on the toothpaste, And don't interrupt people.
Right. Goodbye, Penny. Now, be a good kid, okay?
Bye, Steve.
I imprint so much like Tony Curtis's real life into these movies. Like, I saw him and Janet Leigh's real relationship and how it kind of compared and contrasted to what
I don't want to go.
he showed in The Perfect Furlough, and here I'm just like, how much of this is like how his dynamics with like Jamie Lee Curtis is playing out on a screen?
Okay.
Maybe not in the way it's written, but the way it's performed.
Come on.
He's like burying into her face.
As to the point in question,
Criminal
I'm
negligence.
in court that Penelope Piper is a ward of the state of Nevada and shall be relinquished to the care of the state welfare department.
Yeah, what did you expect? You haven't even put in any papers to apply to adopt her.
Where does she go from here?
And I hope she'll go into a nice foster home.
Ooh.
I wish you could take the child home on probation starting today.
You're not married. American morality. You'll have to get married.
As far as I can see, Mr. McCluskey, you have no home to take her to. This child doesn't need any more hotel rooms and babysitter.
Well, they put it nicely, I guess.
A real home, with real parents, and the normal.
This is the least romantic proposal I've ever heard. The second? There was another bad proposal on this channel. What was it?
Talk about it now.
Swing time?
When are you going to talk? We're in your loan.
Long hot summer?
I'm trying to help.
Hey, Sharpie, have a good honeymoon. Where you going?
Disneyland. Hiya. It was an interesting movie. I guess I'd call it a comedy in the sense that it's definitely more of a comedy than a drama. I wouldn't quite classify it as like a pure comedy in the same way that Perfect Furlough certainly tries to be, or is. Perfect Furlough kind of has like a laughs per minute counter on it, where it aims to deliver comedy in short and long form over the course of the movie. I don't really think that is expressed in this as much. I really think this is just like a movie with like stakes and execution. And like the story takes precedence over the comedy. The story kind of even takes precedence over like emotional, like to a certain degree, like emotional satisfaction or emotional resolution for the characters. I don't know. This is again me kind of butting up against differences in tone with like 60s movies and not really being sure what the audience's expectations would be of a movie like this in the 60s. It's one of those vagaries, I suppose. Like, you'd like to think that movies are universal and carry kind of universality within them based on whether or not like the greatest movies of all time or the worst movies of all time. Like, the worst movies of all time will be the least universal and the greatest will be the most. And I think like in the real world, movies are developed and play to their times, and there are aspects of that will forever be untranslatable to other times. And a movie isn't the greatest movie just based on the most aspects of it being preserved for posterity. And even if that were the case, it's impossible to make a movie based on that kind of anticipation. So like, I didn't really think of this as like a pure comedy, but the things I liked about it, I think it was surprisingly beautifully shot. And I think that Tony Curtis, while not exactly funny in this movie, he was warm, he was charming, he was a great leading man. And the way he played off of Claire Wilcox, the actress for Penelope, for Penny, it was great. It was a great kind of dynamic that the two led. I kind of feel like Claire Wilcox kind of stole the show a little bit, but that's also like me being a movie watcher in 2022 and not seeing like child actresses of this age performing in movies as much. I don't know how prolific child actors were back in this time, and I'm sure there were much more of this age back in that time. Like we have child actors these days, but they're like of that like 13 to 18-year-old cusp of like CW-ish or Disney Plus-ish, and not this young and this kind of this professional in their performance, if this young. And like the in terms of his relationship with with Chris, I don't think it was like perfect. I definitely don't think it reaches the kind of display of sexuality that he shares with Janet Leigh's character in Perfect Furlough. They really emphasize like the sexual attraction between those two characters to the degree that it becomes like the highlight of that movie. And the movie is about like, you know, getting your nut on, so I kind of understand that for Perfect Furlough. For this, it felt much more cooperative. It felt they didn't really have that much kind of tension between each other. And like I said, there's an interesting aspect to it of them being kind of reflective or compatible with each other, not based in the script or the movie in any way, but based on these two leading actors being Jewish. They like kind of have a for me a kind of like shared perspective or kind of mutual understanding of each other that is like shorthanded by how similar the two actors already are, like ethnically, like culturally. Oh, also like a kind of biographical element. Tony Curtis was getting divorced from Janet Leigh at this time, so I don't know if that's playing into the plot circumstances with him and his ex-wife, but maybe. And his future wife, Christine Kaufman, looks more in alignment with how Chris Lockwood is portrayed in the movie. So this might be like interference or contrivance on the part of Curtis Enterprises working on the script or working on the casting, perhaps. But an interesting connection is that Christine Kaufman worked on some Fassbinder films. She apparently was in Lily Marlene and also in Lola, so that's an interesting connection right there. I wonder if I don't know who Isabella Adjani's character in Peter von Kant is based off of. I would have assumed it was based off of I would have assumed it was based off of Romy Schneider, but there are particular references to Ajani's character, like moving out to Hollywood and like kind of failing there and not being able to make her stake. And I don't know if Romy Schneider ever worked in Hollywood. If she did, that's probably what the comparison is. But Christine Kaufman worked in Hollywood, and she returned to working with Fassbinder, so maybe like the Johnny character is kind of an amalgam of different muses for Fassbinder, and perhaps Kaufman is one of them. She was in Lola. Who was she in Lola? I don't remember her. She was Susie. Who was Susie? Was Susie one of the dancers? I don't know. I'll check that out again. But apparently, 40 Years of Trouble, or 40 Pounds, apparently 40 Pounds of Trouble is based off of a short story, Little Miss Marker, that was also made into a movie back in the 30s that starred Shirley Temple. So I'd be interested to check that one out. I'll see if I can find that one, and maybe we could also do that on the channel. But yeah, that was 40 Pounds of Trouble. I think it was fun. I think it was really well made, or comparatively well made from how I would expected it to be. I don't think it was really funny exactly, but like Big Daddy, I guess. It was well made for the type of story that it was. I don't think Big Daddy is particularly funny either, but of Adam Sandler's like pre-Netflix, pre-Uncut Gems era, it was probably the one that people Punch Drunk Love era. It was probably the movie that people made note of the most in terms of his dramatic capabilities. Oh, yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna look up Little Miss Marker. Let me know what you thought of 40 Pounds of Trouble. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe for more old, obscure, and art house films. And until next time, keep watching good movies.